Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Dear students, welcome back to this online lecture series of Hera English School Standard 10th for the subject of Science 2. Today we are going to start with chapter number 4, Environmental Management. After finishing chapter number 2, that is Life Processes in Living Organism part 1, we are going to start with chapter number 4 today. I know you would be wondering that why I am skipping chapter number 3 and starting with chapter number 4. Chapter number 3, that is Life Processes in Living Organism part 2, will be taught to you later on. And today we'll start with chapter number 4, that is Environmental Management. So as you can see, there are various topics to be covered under this chapter, that is ecosystem, a review which we had already discussed in 9th standard about ecosystem. We'll have a revision of it. Then we are going to discuss about environment and ecosystem. Then we'll discuss about environment conservation, then environment management, and then biodiversity hotspots. So our today's lecture will be based on ecosystem and the relation between ecosystem and our environment. Dear students, what is ecosystem? Ecosystem is formed by biotic and abiotic factors and their interactions with each other. Each factor plays a very important role in the ecosystem. Producers like plants are important. Herbivores like deer, goats, sheep, cattle, horses, camels, etc. feeding upon producers are also important. Predators like lion and tiger, which prevent the overpopulation of herbivores, are also equally important. A question may arise in our mind that whether the caterpillars found in nature, organisms present in filthy places, termites, insects present in dung, are really useful. However, those organisms are also important, though they are dirty. They are responsible for cleaning the environment. It means that our existence is due to these factors present around us. Hence, we should care for these factors. So what one should understand from this, that ecosystem, which is a part of our environment and consists of many factors in it. So as it is mentioned, you can see it's mentioned that biotic and abiotic factors are very important players or the role players in the ecosystem which maintain our ecosystem. Now, the factors are divided as producers and consumers. So plants are producers, and all those organisms which depends on plants and the other organisms which depend on the organisms which depend on the plants like producers are called as consumers. So if you're able to recall the topic of ecosystem which we had discussed in standard 9th, if you remember, there was a chapter taught to you, energy flow in an ecosystem, in which we had discussed about different types of consumers, the like primary consumers, secondary consumers, tertiary consumers. So we all organisms except plants are called as consumers. So consumers are dependent on producers, and all together this maintain the balance in our ecosystem. So if you see the last line of this paragraph, which says that our existence is due to these factors present around us, and we should take care of these factors. If we don't take care of these factors, the balance in our ecosystem will get disturbed, and that will affect our life. Now this tree diagram of ecosystem is homework for you. You have to complete this tree diagram. I will give you a few idea on a short idea about this tree diagram. You can see in this tree diagram a part is given as abiotic component. You know about abiotic components. Abiotic components are all those non-living things which are present in our ecosystem but very important to balance our ecosystem. So what will come on the next part? Biotic component. It is the living part or the living organisms. Okay. So this way you are supposed to complete the boxes which are given you as a blank. Okay, this is very important. Pre-diagram can come in the exam, so it's a homework for you. Now moving ahead. Now this is not so difficult for you. If you remember this, we had already discussed in 9th standard, called as food chain. So you know what is food chain is? Food chain is a group of organism eating something, okay, and the other group of organism eating that organism which is dependent on the earlier one. So it's a chain. If you can remember this, you can see in the diagram, it's a grass being eaten up by grasshopper, grasshopper being eaten up by frog, frog being eaten up by snake, snake is being eaten up by eagle, and when eagle dies, who eat them? Decomposers, that are saprophytes. So the whole chain is being completed, okay, and the nutrients which decomposer get from these apex consumer like eagle or vultures, those nutrients are given back to the soil, and the soil gives this nutrient back to the plants. The whole chain gets completed, and the group of food chain is called as food web. So this is what was taught to you. Now moving ahead to the next topic, that is relationship between environment and ecosystem. Now let us understand. Environment is a broad concept. Physical, chemical, and biological factors affecting the living organisms in any possible way is collectively called as environment. In short, environment is the condition in surrounding. So we know this. What is environment? It's a condition or anything which is around us, we call it as an environment. So it includes many biotic, abiotic, natural and artificial factors. So there are two main types of environment. You should keep in mind. What is there? One is natural environment and other is artificial environment. So natural environment is the environment which is naturally around us. An artificial environment is the environment which we created due to the establishment of industries or the factories or the malls or the buildings or the construction work, whatever man has carried out artificially. So that environment is called as artificial environment. Now see what is mentioned further. Natural environment consists of air, atmosphere, water, land, living organisms, etc. Continuous interaction occur between biotic and abiotic factors. Their interactions are very important. Artificial environment is also affecting the natural environment directly or indirectly. Basically, environment consists of two basic factors which we have already discussed. Now see again they are mentioning about it. Biotic factors and another one is abiotic factors. The science that deals with the study of interactions between biotic and abiotic factors of the environment is called as ecology. This is important for you. If a question comes what is ecology or define ecology, you are supposed to answer like this. That is the science that deals with the study of interactions between biotic and abiotic factors of the environment is called as ecology. So basic functional unit used to study the ecology is called as ecosystem. Now remember, an ecosystem is a part of the environment which we select to understand the ecology. Now it can be a puddle of water, it can be a pond, it can be a lake, it can be a forest, okay, it can be a desert. So ecosystem is a part of that environment which we consider to study its ecology. Now environment consists of many ecosystems. Okay, many ecosystems. We have studied some ecosystem in earlier classes. A small pond is an ecosystem, just now where I said you. Whereas the earth is said to be the largest ecosystem. In brief, biotic and abiotic factors occupying a definite geographical area and their interactions collectively constitute the ecosystem. So in this part, what we have understood that our environment is a bigger part, okay, an ecosystem is a part of it, right? So earth is said to be the largest ecosystem, okay. If you try to understand about the ecology of our earth, you have to consider earth as one biggest ecosystem, and biotic and abiotic are the factors or the components of our ecosystem. So I hope you have understood in this part what is ecosystem. I gave you the recall or recapitulate. We have recapitulated about food chain and food web. Then we had discussed about the relationship between ecosystem and environment. Inshallah, in the next lecture, we'll see the further topic of this chapter by the time you read this part. Okay, and I hope you got the message to write the question answers of chapter number 1. I have already shared that link in your 10th standard WhatsApp group. So the question and answers are easily given on that link. You refer that link, write the answers in your science 2 notebook, and you know how to make science 2 notebook. Okay, as we did in 9th standard, same type of notebook you're supposed to make. If at all you are not able to get that type of notebook, no issue, need not to worry. As soon as the things are open in the market, you can get it from the market and then you can write it. But if it is available in your nearby stores, please get it and start writing. Inshallah, we'll meet in the next lecture. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.